Right, hello then. Dread Mechanic here for some more live streaming of Space Engineer's free weekend on Steam. Unfortunately, my Steam stream doesn't seem to be playing ball today, so I'm just going to crack on with the YouTube one instead. So, to anyone that's watching, hello. I'm going to be here for probably the next 3 hours, internet connection willing. So, seeing as Steam ain't working for me right now, Keen are currently running a free Space Engineers weekend over on Steam, if you want to go and try it out yourself. I believe it is also 75% off on sale at the moment for, I think, everything except for the most recent DLC, the Fieldwork pack. So that's all super cheap right now. And we've got another update coming out very, very soon. It is very close on the horizon from everything I've seen. So there's never been a better time to get into it, really. So today I'm just going to mess around with a couple of ideas. Some of the things that you can do in Space Engineers. So yesterday, before everything went wrong, we were... I was showing you the basics of how to set up subgrid wheels on a vehicle. I've adjusted it a little bit since yesterday, because I made it slightly too small. So, yeah, we'll carry on with that. So, where was I up to? What did I build? I built the controllers, and I got round to building and naming some of the thrusters, but not quite all of them. So, let's finish them off. So, we have drive left. Hang on, no, that is not drive left, that is drive right, because with the steering thrusters, they are the opposite way around. So I press the left button, this one I'm looking at right now is going to fire, to make me go left. Oh, has Steam started working? Maybe, possibly. Well, if it feels like joining the party, it's free to. If it doesn't want to, it can smack off. Right, so. Right, so we have got a forward, reverse, a left and a right thruster. We've got forward, reverse, left and right controllers. We named the suspensions. So, if we want to control these wheels, first thing we should do is make a group for the suspension blocks. Makes things a little bit easier. And then we've got our drive controls here. So, drive forward. In fact, all of these are all going to be set to the thrust output event. And then from there we can, what we're doing next, oh yeah, so after that we want to set all of these to have some kind of trigger. Doesn't really need to be that high, because we just need to be able to measure the thrust output a little bit. And then we just set up the thrusters. So the forward controller is going to have the forward thruster, left is going to have left, reverse is going to have reverse as the trigger, and Right, so we need to set that one as well. Cool. Right, so now when I push forward, we want that to trigger the event controller. So we need to set up the event. So we go to our suspension blocks, choose the group we made before, and then choose the set propulsion override action. Set that to 100% in the first box, the positive one, that triggers when we fire the thruster. And then we can set propulsion override to 0 in the second box. So now, when I hit that forward thruster, the wheels go forward. It can be tricky sometimes with the frame rate to know to know what direction your wheels are actually going sometimes. So I think something's going backwards there. Or it might just be the frame rate messing with my eyes. It's hard to tell. Probably just the frame rate. Right, so that's forwards. I think. We can try it out in a minute. And then we do the same for the reverse. So, did I actually set that up yesterday? Oh no, I didn't. That'll be why. I got round to explaining it, but I never got round to fixing it. So, yeah, if I apply positive propulsion override to that wheel, it starts spinning backwards because by default they all think they're a left wheel. So for this side, we need to invert the propulsion. I forgot to do something on that. There we go, so that wheel is now turning in the correct direction. Cool. Right, there we go, that's solved. So, reverse controls. Same thing, pretty much. Suspension. Set propulsion override, except we're going to do minus 100 this time. We want it to go in reverse, and then we can set it back to 0 again. So now, when I hit reverse, we can drive in reverse, and when I hit forward, we can drive forward. Cool. Then we've got left and right. So left controller, again with our suspension group. We can where is it? Set steer override. So I believe it is minus 100 for left. Set steer override to 0. Hit the left button, and there we go. We turn left. And then for the right, same thing again. Suspension group, set steer override, 100%, and set steer override 0. So now we can steer right, we can steer left, we can drive forwards, we can drive backwards. Real simple, real straightforward. Give that a little test to see if it actually works, because it's always a good idea when you're building in creative mode or with creative tools on, like I am right now, to test your ideas as you go, because you can spend hours and hours and hours building something really cool and then find out that it doesn't actually work as well as you think it does. There we go. We can drive forwards. We can drive in reverse. The wheel friction might need to come down a little bit. And we also might need to reduce the power slightly. Let's bring the power down. Let's reduce the wheel friction a bit. Ooh, now it's a bit slidey. Oh yes, and that's one important thing I forgot to mention. When you're doing setup like this, turn inertial dampeners off, because the main grid moving about will react with the inertial dampeners and it'll start firing these thrusters and then it'll start doing weird stuff on you. There you go, that's much nicer. Bit slidey because of that lower friction. We can drive in reverse, we can drive forward, we can drive all around. Simple as. Let's get rid of that. So, yeah. So that was like the basics of setting up some subgrid wheels. Briefly covered setting up subgrid legs, or sweeping legs yesterday. But I thought, what I might do right now is show you how to make a cute little AI drone like this guy, who can follow me around and do his own little thing. And he also has guns on him, so if he detects an enemy, he can go off and shoot stuff. And yeah, he'll just follow me around everywhere I go. So. Oop. Oh yeah, and I also set him up with a sensor so he can reverse away from me and not bump into stuff. It also makes it a bit tricky to turn him off. Come here. There we go. Right, so let's build one of these little dudes. So, first thing is first. I always like to use a colour that I'm not going to actually use on the end result itself, so I know what things I can cut out later and what things don't need to be part of the actual design. Let's stick a battery on there, and batteries always inevitably run out when I do all my testing, so let's put a little reactor on there too, and we'll use the spawn menu to stick some uranium in there. Cool. Right, we've got some power. So let's take this little dude and we'll strip away all the armor paneling, all the unnecessary bits, so we can see what is actually going on inside him. Inside him, and that's some more uranium. Right, so as you can see, we've got a few bits and pieces down here at the bottom. So the bottom of it is literally just a set of small wheels. Is that armor paneling? That is also just armor paneling. Let's take that off. So this little dude is literally just that. On the bottom row is a remote control block, so we can control him ourselves if we want to, use him as a little exploratory drone. We've got a controller there for turning his AI on and off, and an AI thruster. Now, the reason that I put thrusters like that on a lot of my AI builds is the AI blocks need at least a couple of thrusters in order to be able to move around correctly. And through lots of experimenting, I have noticed that if you try and use the AI blocks to build something that is ground-based, it'll have a very, very difficult time trying to navigate inclines without having at least one thruster on its vertical axis. So I usually just stick one unconnected hydrogen thruster facing either up or down somewhere on the build. It doesn't need to be connected. The AI block doesn't understand hydrogen fuel consumption and stuff like that. It only recognises that it has a thruster in the correct orientation that is switched on. So you can use those, you can basically use unconnected H2 thrusters to trick AI blocks into thinking they can move in a direction that they can't actually move. Which can come in very, very handy for building AI mechs. So, let's recreate something. So in the very, 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 very middle, we are going to have a remote control block, so that we can control it ourselves. Then we'll have an event controller and a thruster. So we'll pop one of them facing down, because the front side of the event controller has only got a connection point along this top ridge here. Can't connect to stuff down here. And it's going to be low to the ground anyway, so we'll put it like that, and we'll have a nice flat surface on the top and bottom and sides to stick all the stuff to. Then we are gonna need that thruster, which I don't have on here right now. There we go. Oh no, that's one of my mods. I'll play with that later. That's the one. So, take that facing down. We'll call that roller AI on. Now we'll call that AI thruster, and we'll call that AI remote. Right then, so next step, we need some small wheels. Have I got wheels on my toolbar? I've got one back there. Let's just add some water here. Bum, 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 bum. So we've got, let's use the off-road wheels. I like the way they look. They're quite cool. So we'll go with the tiny ones. Now how did we orientate these? Oh yeah, we'll put two sideways and one the correct way around. So let's have, not that way. Let's also set some mirror mode up to make life a bit easier. So we'll have that one there, that one there, that one in the middle. Cool. Might look a bit weird, but trust me, it works. I've proven it with this little robot here. And then we need an antenna. So I'm going to use this little parabolic antenna. I quite like the way it looks. Then we've got that on the back, and now, as we've got a remote control block and an antenna, I can activate those wheels and drive it around if I wanted to. But we need to set up these wheels. So I did a lot of experimenting when I was building this little guy the first time round, and this ended up being the best kind of configuration. for getting it to drive. So basically the two middle ones actually do most of the forward driving, and the two outer ones are mostly just for balance and a bit of extra friction, but it seems to work quite well. And then it's also got the thruster on the back that's controlling the AI, and that adds quite a bit of additional forward thrust to such a tiny little grid. Moving. Settings, copy, just copy all of it. Why is the steering override not working? Oh, because I was... Ah. That's fine. Build vision, doing weird stuff. Copy all. Oh, right, that's why, because I copied the wrong details. Why are the steering working? The steering override not working. What are you doing? Oh, I know why. I know why. Because I turned off the steering control. There we go. That's why it's not working, because I turned it off to set the angle. There we go. That's why it was giving me grief. So let's copy that back angle as well. We can go back into that control panel again. Flip that steering on and off. Because I don't actually want to be able to control the steering on these front and back wheels. I just want them to be at the right angle to contact the floor. Right. Rear left, flick that off and on. Go. Sweet. I think also, yeah, I need to increase that angle. There we go. That's better. Much better. Right, so copy the details from these last two. Are in the middle. Take that and that. There we go. They're all more or less the same height above the ground. Get the suspension on this one. Oh, I set them to 40. 45 was a little bit too much, I think. At the front and back, turn that steering back on. We'll set that to 40, and then we'll turn the steering back off again. There we go. Cool. Right then. So that's the basics of the bottom of the drone. We can drive forwards and backwards. You don't have to mess with any wheel settings, it's all directly connected to that main grid. Cool, then we can move on to the next bit. So, I might try and redesign some of this a little bit for this new one. So we need a AI flight block, an AI task block, and an AI offensive block. And then we also need some power, and we need some gyro control. I also want some access to those guns. Is there a way we can do that? Not really. I'll just rebuild it the same. So, AI blocks. We need a flight move block. It's handy to take the mirror mode off when we're doing this bit, so we might actually get it the right way around, because it's important to have this facing forward. If it's not facing forward, the AI block will get confused and go the wrong way. And then we'll have connector, reactor. So we can then select the nice nifty little inset reactor, inset connector. Stick that there, and then we've got some way to get fuel into our reactor. I like to use these little warfare ones, I think they look really cool. So we'll stick that there. And then what else did we have? We had a pair of gyroscopes either side, because we need a little bit of control for this thing. Ah, there we go. Gyroscopes. We'll have one there. And we'll have one there. Oh. And we had a couple of batteries for some power storage and extra output. Now, I've sort of cobbled that thing together with a few different ideas. Let's see if we can refine it a little bit. So if I pop a little bit of uranium in there, get rid of that. How much power output does that require? That, we need to put a thruster on the back. Let's just quickly pop one small thruster on that grid. How much power does that consume? Oh, that's fine. We could probably just get away with a single reactor. You know what? We'll put batteries on there anyway. That battery there, I'll have a battery there. At the back we need an offensive block and a task block. So that our little drone can follow us and shoot at stuff when it needs to. So the task block is for basic following commands, like following players or following waypoints. And then we've got that for detecting enemies. And that's pretty much it. Put some guns and stuff on it in a bit. Now we will just get it up and running. So we need, oh yeah, what was that one? That controller is AI control. What was that then? Oh, that was the drive forward control. That's not good. Drive forward. It's very important, that one. So that one back. That was going to be the AI control. That was going to be a switch to turn its AI on and off. So I'll have that there. And we'll call that controller. On that one. Yeah, more or less. Cool. Right, so we've got that. And we tuck in a couple of thrusters at the sides. So this is going to have two thrusters on it, and the reason for that is, as I demonstrated with the subgrid wheel contraption, when it's driving around, you need to turn off the inertial dampening. Otherwise, it'll give you grief and make the thrusters trigger. And by that same token, the AI blocks will automatically turn inertial dampening back on again every time it's in control. And that can end up screwing with your control systems a bit. It's not majorly important when you're only using something that's got a single direction, but what I like to do to counteract that is build a second thruster and just put tiniest bit of override on it. That way, this thruster won't react to the grid moving backwards and accidentally fire the forward thrusters. Cool. Right then. So, next bit we need to do take that. No, don't need that anymore. So we've now got a thruster and wheels that all move at the same time when we're controlling it. Obviously, the AI blocks cannot directly control wheels, even if they're attached to the same grid, so we're going to set up a similar drive control with this thruster and this event controller I just built, so that the AI blocks can actually control the wheels. I'm going to take that tag off there. That's something I use for my proper builds. This is only a little experimental one, so... yeah, so... with this one, when I make a group and I set it all to 100, they're all still going to drive backwards, because it's the input from a control block or a remote control that determines which way the wheels go. If you just set the propulsion overrides, they just go in their default direction. And if I set the proportion overrides on this on, it will cause all kinds of grief, and we'll have wheels going backwards when they're not supposed to be. So, for these drive controls, for the AI blocks, we are going to set up two suspension groups, one for the left side, one for the right hand side. So we'll have front left, mid left, rear left. Put that suspension left. And then we'll have the right hand side, put that suspension right. So, the drive controls, let's set up these thrusters and name them properly. So, drive thruster, one control, and then we'll call this one drive thruster override. And that way it'll be easier to tell which one is which in the control panel. So, our drive controls. Once again, set that to the thrust output. We'll set it to 10%. We will select our drive thruster. And then for this one, for the left-hand suspension group, we want to set propulsion to 100. And then set it back to 0. And on the second page of our event controller, we're going to do the opposite with the right-hand side. So that is going to be -100 propulsion override and 0. Now when I fire that thruster, it should all drive in the correct direction. I set that on, and look at this wheel, we can now see the propulsion override is active, and that is driving the wheel forwards. If I reset it back to 0, it all stops again. Cool. So, we've now got some drive controls our little AI device can use. So, next thing we'll do is we'll set up some of those AI controls. So I'll call that AI unit move. That's going to be the one that's moving things around. So, we want to make sure that block's on, turn the AI behavior on, turn the collision and precision modes both off. We don't need any of that. We'll set a max speed limit of 10 meters a second for now. Minimum altitude right down to 0, and then planetary alignment to gravity, very important for these kind of things. We don't want it trying to roll over and do somersaults, so we'll make sure that is active. And for now, we'll set roll to 0, and we'll set pitch to about 5 degrees, so it can kind of look up and down a little bit. AI unit offensive. Don't really need to do much with that right now. I'll just stick that there. And then AI unit, we'll call that guard. It's going to follow us around. So for this, block on, AI behavior on, follow player, click follow me. I'll have it about 10 meters distance. Turn on all of the AI blocks. AI, that's all on. That is on. Oh, it's because you're locked to the ground. Yeah, probably. Right, so if I take him off there. Oh, there you go. You can see him trying to turn towards me. If we put him down. There we go. And with the most basic setup, he is now following me around. There we go. That's our really, really basic little rover drone thing. You can scale this up as big as you like. You can even do it with large grid stuff. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it seems to work pretty well. So we've now got a basic little thing there, and the other thing I did, the collision avoidance type thing, is if you set collision avoidance on the AI blocks on something that is touching the ground, it just tries to run away from the floor, and it doesn't work very well, and it all tends to go a bit pear-shaped. So you can't really use collision avoidance for ground-based drones. Oh, my Steam stream has died again. Oh well, fun while it lasted. So what I did to counteract that was to set up a sensor on the back. And we stick that show on HUD and go to our info tab. Set sensor range and turn it on. There we go. You can see the little sensor field. And if that detects me in it, it will make the wheels drive in reverse and stop it bumping into stuff. Or, in theory, depends how fast it's going. So, we can build something like that. So, if we... where have I put them? There we are. Sensors. We've got the little old school smiley face roboty looking one. I like these new little automaton ones. They're much more detailed. It's more pretty. So we'll call that the AI sensor. There you go, that's its default range, which is much too big for our purposes. So we'll bring all that in a bit. So that can be 0. Left and right hand side can be about 1. Yeah, I'll have a bit on that one. Maybe bring it down a little bit lower. Yeah, that'll do. And then we'll put a little bit on the bottom as well. Yeah, there we go. As far as I put that one out there, what was it? Oh, it's about 5 meters. So we'll call that 5 meters there. Now, in this sensor, first thing we did to stop the AI trying to use the forward thruster is we set a little bit of override on that drive thruster, and then we turn it off again when the sensor stops detecting stuff. And then we just do the opposite thing that we did with the drive control controller, we have one side going minus 100% and the other side going positive 100%. So, we'll set that up. So that drive thruster, we will set the override to literally just 1%, just so it's the tiniest little bit. And then we'll set it back to 0 again when it stops detecting stuff. And then with the suspension, we'll do the opposite of the forward controls. So on the second page, we will do set propulsion override minus 100 and 0. And then for the right hand side, we will set that to 100 and 0. There we go. So now when I pop into there, the wheels go backwards. When I step out, we stop. Go, so he will now drive towards me, follow me around, and when he gets a bit too close, he'll back away. Right, so that works pretty well. Cool. So how did I set up that AI control? What are you? Controller. AI control. Right, so that was turned on and off by a light. And we've got a control group. And then some fail-safes when we turn it off again. Yeah, okay, so that AI control group was all of that stuff. And the thrusters. That's simple enough. So, to act as a switch for our AI controls, I'm going to build a little light back here. And I'm going to build a matching one on that side because I like them to match, sort of. I like a bit of symmetry. Let's take that tag off there, though. Cool, so we are going to set this up so that when that light gets turned on, it's going to activate all of our AI controls for us. And then we will copy that from that side. Go onto there. And that was all we really needed now. Yeah, that's fine. So, we need to make an AI control group. What is that group again? The secondary lights, the thruster, the AI blocks, the thrusters. Right, cool. Sensor, thruster, those three blocks. Right there. And now we'll just make an AI control group for that, and then we'll make AI units group for the AI blocks. So this AI control, event controller, is going to be block switched on and off, right there. We're going to use that light that I've labelled AI control to activate it. And then, when that light turns on, we will turn the AI control blocks on and off. And then we will turn the AI on those AI blocks on and off. Is that all that was in there? We have that. That. Oh yeah, and a couple of fail safes. Yeah, one. So it's always good to put fail-safe controls into your programming if you can, to make sure that things turn off and on when they're supposed to. Usually it's a case of wanting things to turn off in the right place. So in this case, when we turn that off, we want to make a group for the whole set of suspensions, so it'll be easier. So when we turn this whole system off, we want to make sure that all of those wheels reset back to zero propulsion override. And the same with the drive thruster, just in case we've triggered the reverse sensor. When we turn it off, we want to make sure that that goes back to zero as well. And we can also make a group for our AI mode lights. And we can choose that group, and we can set some colour changes on it as well. So when it turns on, the lights will change to a nice shade of green. When the AI control is turned off, set it to a nice shade of orange. That light there would now be the on-off switch for all of that stuff. There you go, you can see all those AI blocks turning on and off. Sensor goes on, and the lights change colour. Cool. So we've now got a basic on and off switch for the AI. And if we have it switched off, we can jump into the control seat and control it ourselves. We turn it on and jump into the control seat. we'll get a message saying autopilot enabled, and we can't do anything with it. Go. So then, one last thing that I built on this guy was a broadcast controller, which is a cool, relatively new block that came up in one of the most recent updates. And I really like it because you can use it to send messages to yourself, to other players in your faction, or to everyone around you, if you so wish. And it's a good way of knowing when your automated things are doing stuff. If you're not nearby, you can set up a broadcast controller and then get it to send messages to you when various things are happening. Ah, the Steam stream's back again. We'll see how long that lasts this time. Right, so, broadcast controller. What did I do with the broadcast controller on the original design? On this we had a whole bunch of things. Oh no, we only had 4. And for now, we're only going to set up these first 2. So we'll have AI control online and offline. So we'll set it to owner only, because we don't want to pester everybody, but you can send it to faction only and everyone, if you want everybody within broadcast range to be able to see these messages. And you can also set up a custom name that will appear in the text box on the left hand side. So we'll just call it drone. Messages will be set up. We'll have AI control online in message 1 and AI control offline in message 2. So we can now go back to our AI control event controller, into our broadcast controller, and on the first one we will send message 1 or transmit message 1. And the second block will transmit message 2. So now, if I flick this light on and off, I should get a message that says AI control is on and AI control is off. Go. And then, so we can actually see when we're driving around controlling the little guy, we can stick a camera on the front, and then we can go to our remote control, wherever I put it. There it is. Got my inertial dampeners on that remote control. And then we can set the assigned camera to the front. Now we jump into control, we are looking through the front of the drone. Cool. There we go, that's pretty much it. That's like the basic skeleton of it, and then we can start adding extra details like guns or armor plating or whatever we feel like. So let's grab some weapons. Yeah, stick a pair of them on the front, because why not? And then with these guys, because I've pretty much designed them to be like little companion drones. Let me turn his AI back off again. Come here. I stuck a weapon rack and a little medical first aid cabinet, that's what it's called, on the other side, so it can carry some stuff around for you. Yeah, they're not on my toolbar, are they? Let's add that then. So, where were they? They are in the weapon rack group. There we go, so we can have that on that side. A little bit of first aid if we need any med packs out in the field. And on the other side, we can pop a little gun rack to keep any extra weapons or ammo we might need. Yeah, and that's about it really, other than armouring him back up again. And I gave this guy just a real simple armour set. And some buttons. Oh yeah, we can have some lights on him, can't we? Oh, we've got a whole bunch of different options for spotlights. A nice compact little floodlights. We've even got... Where have they gone? Searchlights. You know what? I might give him some searchlights for this one. So that he's got some little eyeballs that can look around, kind of thing. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and the Steam stream's died again. Fantastic. Okay. Well, that's pretty much all we really need on this little guy. Let's go with a different one. Let's make... Yeah, let's go with something that's like minty green. Why not? Right colour. Let's pop that onto there. Then let's stick some armour panels on it. I like these little armour panels. They're good for covering things up, but also keeping your profile a little bit slimmer. Oh yeah, slightly differently on that one, didn't I? Because I like trying to squeeze in these scaffold blocks where I can, because I really like the look of them. And I can also see that that reactor is fueled up and filled. Yeah, that'll do. Oh yeah, and then we wanted the buttons to control it all and be able to turn stuff on and off. So we've got these vertical button pedestals, we've got a few different varieties of them. I'm going to use these ones, because they've got more buttons on them. Cool, right, that'll do that. Let's go back to our armour plating. What's on that? Oh, it's because it's not got a connection point on the top of that, isn't it? Yeah, that's why. Got the first aid cabinets have only got a connection point directly on the back. And yeah. Oh. There's that half block. Half plate, rather. There we go. Do 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 do. There we go. So we can turn that off on that sensor. We don't need that on anymore. Let's call him drone for now. And then where's that antenna block? There it is. That'll make it easy to see. And then we can set a drone name on there. There we go. So we now just see that. Cool. So that button, we can make that the AI control light. What do we do for the buttons on this one? Control systems. Oh yeah. All the important bits, so we can turn it off and on. Should be in there realistically. Oh no, they're part of the AI group. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay. So camera, lights, gyro, suspension. Do camera, gyros, searchlights, suspension blocks. Yeah, cool, that'll do. Right, so we can have a group there. That, so we can turn the whole thing on and off, or turn off the important bits when we need to. Turn the AI on and off when we need to. What do I do with the other buttons? Battling guns, docking port, floodlights, parking brake. Yeah, all just random stuff just to fill buttons. Wait, let's make a copy of it. Right, there we go. I control him. I can drive around. And now I've got a nice little wheeled drone. And if I turn his AI on, he can just follow me around. There you go, that wasn't too bad. That was what we've been streaming for a little over an hour. I probably started that 10-15 minutes in, so it probably took about an hour to casually throw together a little drone like that. Too bad, really. So, when it comes to offensive blocks for little drones like this, it can be a bit tricky sometimes, because if they've only got a forward drive control, circular orbit goes right out the window, absolutely no use. Similar with stay at range, that relies a lot on being able to move left and right. So without having those kind of control setups, which are pointless on a driving vehicle, that kind of goes out the window as well. Hit and run and intercept are the best two for land-based vehicles, and I usually go with hit and run, because that way they will get within a certain range of their target. I usually set it 50 meters for this little guy, and then 100 meters as a retreat distance. And we can have those guns as targeting reference. There we go. Right, so, oi, stop there, little man. So, let's pop Gatling ammo into him. So now when I control that drone, I set that to there. Now I've got firing control on this drone. And the AI block should be able to use them as well. I'll stick him there. Oh, hello. And then if we transfer him to space pirates, and he is now an enemy block, in a second these guys should, oh there you go, start targeting each other. So he has started targeting him now. He is still set to follow me. Not big enough. Oh, there we go. Ah, I forgot damage was still on. Ooh, meant to turn damage off. And that's another thing that you need to think about when setting up the targeting parameters, is they are both trying to run away from each other at a 90-degree angle, so they are now just running parallel side by side, and they can't get enough distance from each other to actually trigger the next attack cycle, which can be a bit of a pain sometimes. So, before I go any further, let's turn the damage back off again, so I didn't mean for that to explode. And we'll just change him again. So, where's that AI offensive block? Search interval, we'll make it every 10 seconds. Default. Hit and run. 50 meters. 100 meters. Retreat to timeout. We'll reduce that to 15, and then we will just set something random as the retreat angle for now. And yeah. This is why, pardon me, this is why testing is important. You can build something that looks super cool and then find out it doesn't quite work the way you were hoping. AI on, AI on. Let's use the space pirates. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. They've detected each other. They are now trying to clear 100 meters worth of distance from each other. And there we go. And there you go to engage. And I forgot to put bullets in them, because I'm an idiot. But you can see how the AI functions on these now. Oh, he's coming for you. He's coming for you. And he's just going to probably target the next nearest thing, which is something over there. Let's get rid of him. Bum, 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 bum. Let's put some ammunition in there. Right, like that then. Copy, turn you on, turn you on. Transfer to the. Yeah, there we go. Right, I'm shooting each other now. No, let's tweak some of his settings. Let's make him only go 75 meters and reduce his retreat timeout. Also his retreat angle a little bit. Yeah, there you go. I'm quite happy with him. It works quite nicely. I'm just going to leave them to chase each other. We're out of ammo eventually, and I'm going to start chasing. They'll just end up chasing each other in circles indefinitely. Right, well there you go. That's how to throw together a little AI patrol attack drone sort of thing. And those two are just going to screw around chasing each other off in the distance. Nice. Cool. What can we do next then? If anyone in the various chats has got any ideas or would like to see me build or explain something, feel free to send us a message in the chat and I'll do that. What else can we do? What else can we do? What else could we do? Bum, bum, bum. Ooh, yes. Do that. Oh yeah, in fact, let's grab one of my new buff designs. There we go. Let's drop him in. Because this guy has got a little bit more advanced technology in him. You can see him spinning round all of his own accord. And that is because he has got one of my balance control systems set up inside him. So I need to change his waypoint on his reference beacon, on his AI balancing block, back to that. Cool. So this guy's got a lot of similar things that the two drones that are screwing around over there have got in him. And he's just a little bit more advanced. So I can turn him on, and he will follow me around. And then you can also set him up to patrol stuff. Although I was on a different world when I set up his patrol route, so he might try to walk off somewhere random. Yeah, I think he's going off somewhere random. Let's not do that. And then he's also got manual controls, so that I can control him. So, someone in the chat yesterday was asking about, oh yeah, building legs and walking mechs and things, and then my stream went all weird and I didn't get a chance to answer him properly. So if you're watching, mate, I'm gonna set up some kind of biped walking contraption here, so we'll probably just nick the leg design off this. Let's have a look at how I built it. Sometimes I do things in weird ways and I can't remember what I've actually done. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what I've done here. Right, let's build something like that then. I might actually build something with a wider leg base. Yeah, let's build something with a slightly wider leg base, because why not? So, at the very centre of this, we are going to have a timer block that is going to be our walk rifle timer. And we're probably going to need our big one on it. Give it a little bit of power while we're building. Go. Right, cool, we've got power. So let's make that wider. Let's for now. I'm just gonna pop. Oh, actually, I know what I could put into that gap. So, much later on in this programming, we are going to need two timers called walk start and walk reset, but we don't have to worry about them for ages yet. Then we need to build, where's it gone? A pair of rotors we are going to have for our leg hips. A bit of mirror mode on there. Have them both facing the same direction because it makes programming easier. Right, and then we can fix that set into there. Copy all of that. Paste that onto there. So these legs out. That's the default setting. We need to set up the actual walking positions. So programming in here. -70 minus 35. All that minus 70. We'll call that one 70. That one is going to be minus 35. And this side will be the opposite, so that will be... Oh no, that will be minus 30. You want the lower limit on here, be 35, and upper limit 70. Right, there we go. What do I do on that leg? Something like that. Okay. Yeah, rectangle. Fine. Cool. You know what, let's do something a bit different. Do it like that. And that back there, that up there. Yeah, cool. Okay, I've got an idea. Put that one there, that one there, and then we need some hinges. We'll have that, and that. Give that 2 blocks there. One, 2, 3, 4. Whatever. We might have to make some adjustments to the stand that we're building on. So after those, we are going to need another couple of hinges, and we're going to put them the opposite way around to the other ones. That way they'll both move in the same direction with the same settings. Need to make this one a little bit taller. Let's copy that. Yeah, put that up there. Copy that block. Make it a bit taller. Stick it back on again. Get rid of that one. Let's copy the settings from there. That's got a 30-degree angle of movement at the moment. Because it worked well on this leg setup, might have to change it for this one. In fact, probably will have to. Because there's no real one-size-fits-all setting for building legs. Unless you're using the exact same configuration every single time. That, fix that there. That, and paste that. And there. Right, then we can do the last little bit of the leg. Do like that. And then we just need to put a hinge right on the end of that. A little bit facing that way. No, pop that there. On there. Right, so in theory, the hip limits and the ankle limits would be the same. We call that 35 and 70. And it was 12 RPM. But it's offset by 10 degrees because of the way I've set that up, that's why. So that's going to be 45. Yeah, there you go. 80. Yeah, that's a bit better. We can also double check. Lining up blocks underneath and seeing how flat it looks, and that looks pretty flat to me. Cool. For that leg hinge, 404. That's the bottom one. Share inertia sensor on, so we can take a bit more weight and balance out all them forces. And what did we do? Just pulled it a million, didn't we? We increased that torque by a little bit. Hey Dread. Yeah, cheers man. Hey dude, how are you doing? Steam's not been too bad to me today. It's disconnected a couple of times, but been much better than yesterday. And the YouTube stream seems to be going fine, so. It's all going a little bit better than it was yesterday. Cool, right, so leg hinge, copy all. Copy, paste. Reverse that because it's. That's not right. Yeah, it needs to be negative, doesn't it? What was it? Let's just look on here. Bum bum bum. Dot. There it is. That's fine. 10 degrees. 45. Oh, right, yeah. I've got that wrong around. So that must be 45. That must be 10. There we go. That's the right way around. 45. 10. Reverse that. There you go. That makes much more sense. So we are going to have to make some adjustments because this leg is a full block lower than that one right now. Let's build some feet. I'm just going to nick it. Oh no, I can't do that, can I? Because it's not going to paste it with subgrids. Won't give me the wheels, and it'd be too much faff to get the wheel back on it again. So let's do it that way. And the balance control system doesn't even need to have feet to stand up. He can just balance on his own. Alright, let's nick that foot design. Push that one to the bottom of there. Paste onto there. So yeah, there is quite a discrepancy between those two legs. So let's adjust the limits on that one. Oh, and Steam's gone again. Of course it has. Whatever. Hopefully Steam connection will be back in a bit. Right, they look much nicer now. Oh, Steam's back again, I think. Oh, Steam's back again, apparently. Right, cool, that looks a bit nicer. just need to make sure we got the same limits on both sides, so that needs to be 75. That needs to be 45. Bum 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 bum, 5 and 45. So that needs to be 5. Right. Okay. That's bad. Gonna be a little bit too much for that. We'll put it at 5 for now. You can always adjust the speed settings later on when we're tweaking the walk cycle. We'll also keep the wobble down while doing stuff. Oh, cool. Okay. So, need after that. Oh, hello, William, in my YouTube chat. How are you doing, mate? Right, so, the next thing we are going to need to build here. The rotor to control our walk cycle. So I'll have that there, and then we will have... Yeah, that's what I mean about them not having connection points on any side but the top. Don't fit that way around. But then we need to have some event controllers for our walk cycle. And we need some lights to trigger the walk cycle. So we'll have one on either leg now. Walk, light, and we'll 0, 1. Let's reduce that bit. That on the right. Let's put the control seat on it. Right then, so after that, we're also going to need, let's do forward and reverse control, so forward, left and right, reverse, left and right, and a reset, a return to left and right. Ah, just woke up, thought you were going to play Space Engineers, this is better. Ah, cheers man. Well, feel free to play Space Engineers whilst you watch. Right, so... let's name a bunch of stuff before we'll get to using. Number 4, it's all the way around here. Was correct. We walk cycle number 1. Number 2. Number 3. And then we are going to have the walk forward left. Walk forward right. Reverse left. Reverse right. And then we'll do the return controls. So let's reverse right. Oh no, because of this system I'm going to need separate return controls. Because doing biped legs, a little bit different from doing sweeping insecty kind of legs. That's the way I do it is anyway. Oh, you don't have a second monitor. Ah, that's a shame. I need more monitors for my setup. I haven't got as many as I need. So, turn left. Forward return. Forward return right. Reverse return left. And reverse return right. I think a bit need for the moment. Drones still chasing each other around. Like they are. Okay, so let's get my spectator camera slightly better position. And now we have a whole bunch of confusing looking walk controls. So, walk cycle is literally just going to be that light and that light turning off and on. Off and on. Right, so starting up the next bits. All the walk cycle blocks are going to be rotor hinge angle. They will be set to 90 degrees or offset by 90 degrees each, but I'll also offset them by another 10 degrees. Just because event controllers can sometimes be a little bit fussy, triggering low values at high speed. We will have the in the middle. Or Michael rotor. With your torque settings. Is next to 0. Go. Bum bum bum. Right, okay, so walk cycle rotor, walk cycle rotor, and walk cycle rotor. Okay. So let's set up this leg control. So this forward left leg is going to be triggered by the walk light on the leg turning on and off. We do the same for left and right. And then we can set up the leg controls. That leg rotor is currently forward. So forward is positive on the left side. Minus is forward on the right hand side. Cool. I'll actually set that velocity a little bit lower because this is a slightly taller mech. And if you apply the settings from a small mech to a big one, it doesn't always work out. Bigger mechs need to move a little bit slower, so we will... we'll just half it for now. So, leg rotor, left hip, set velocity, 6 RPM when the light turns on, and -6 when it turns off. And if I stick those two lights on my toolbar, turn that light on and off, now makes that leg move back and forth. Or it makes the hip move back and forth. So the next action I usually set up is I do the last leg, the last hinge in the routine. So this ankle one here, because in a walk cycle the hip and the ankle pretty much move together. So I forgot to rename the right hand one. Make sure all of these are named correctly. Right, yep, cool, okay. Back to where we were. Walk cycle left, select actions. So, second page, we're going to grab that hinge right at the bottom and we're going to set it to the same settings as the hip. Now, when I turn that light on and off, the ankle and the foot move together. It's a little bit wobbly because it's really lightweight, but they now move together. So, we go back into that controller again, and then the next two we're going to do are going to be the two leg hinges here. So the way I've got them oriented will be positive value to tuck them in, and negative value to extend them out again. And we'll do the same thing for both. There we go, when we move forward, the leg lifts up. And when we turn the light off, it extends back. But we now need that leg to drop back down when it gets to that position. Which is where the walk return controller comes in. So this is going to look at the angle of the leg rotor. So the angle of the hip. That's that, William. To be honest, not a lot of people that I know that build mechs do this the same way I do. A lot of people just rely on scripts, particularly on PC. I used to be an Xbox player quite a long time ago, so I started my SE journey figuring things out the long way round. And I continue to do it now. I could easily play with scripts because I'm on PC these days, but they're not as fun for me. I like working stuff out the hard way. Right, so we need to look at the angle of that leg rotor. So when it is in its forward position, it is at -45. So for that walk return controller, we need to be set to greater than say minus 50 for now. Give us a little bit of room. And when that event controller gets triggered, it is going to return these two controllers back to the extended position. So set that to minus 6 on the first page, in the first slot. We don't need to use the second slot on this one. And we do the same with the second hinge, minus 6. So now when we move forwards, there you go, it returns back down. And then it just needs a bit of tweaking to get that all synced up nicely. So if we reduce that a little bit more, maybe minus 60. It's a little bit too much. And I also think we should slightly increase the speed of these two. So let's call it RPM. Yeah, that's not too bad. We can always tweak it a bit more later. Let's increase that speed a little bit more. Let's set that to 10. Minus 10. Obviously all of these settings in the leg controllers can all be tweaked as you go. Yeah, we'll go with that for now. So that's the leg set up. We'll swing around here and we'll do the right leg. It's going to be more or less the same, with just a few things reversed. So forward right is set to the right hand light. So leg 0, so we can see all of our leg parts. That's going to be minus 6 on the right hand side to drive it forwards, and 6 to drive it backwards. The ankle hinge will still be the same, but that'll be 6 and minus 6. And then what did we say? We said 10 RPM for that. And not rotate to angle, that's the 1. Minus 10. And then 10. And minus 10 again. Cool. That's the beginnings of our right leg. So if we go to the return controller again, that's going to be angle, angle on our right hand rotor. And this is forwards, is 45. So it's going to be the opposite way round to that one, so we will be less than 60. We'll look at the right hand rotor. And we will return these. And -10, and that just reminded me I need to adjust the settings in this one. That'll be -10, and that -10. There we go. So we now have a right leg that operates using a light. We have a left leg that operates using a light. If we press them both together and turn them on and off at the same time, you get a basic walk cycle. So that is why we set up the walk cycle earlier. Now every time I trigger that, it does that by itself. And if we set some velocity on the walk cycle rotor, oh yeah, I forgot to set the triggers in here. So the walk cycle controllers are going to trigger the walk cycle timer. So trigger that, trigger that, one more trigger, what's that, William? Is this for a video of just for fun? This is just for fun. I'm doing this stream on behalf of Keen Software today. They asked me to do a stream to promote their free Steam weekend. So I'm just messing around with some stuff that you can do in this game. It's nothing I'm particularly working on. This is just me demonstrating some of the strange stuff that you can do in Space Engineers that some people might not actually know about. Or might not have thought about. So, there's our walk cycle, and my Steam connection has died again. Fantastic. Well, it'll come back in a bit. Right, so that leg will continue to jiggle for a while. Not got enough weight on it right now. There you go, that is the basics of walk cycle. Aye, and so, the next thing that we need to do are these walk, reset, and start timers. Actually, no, we'll do that in a minute. We will set up the walk control first. Actually, no. We will do the walk, start, and reset. Because these timers will allow us to get the legs to reset back to a default position like that, rather than just staying in a halfway through a step animation kind of position. So, walk, start, and reset. We will do the start one first, because we need to set up all of our controls into a default position. And that's easy to do while we're already in the default positions. A whole bunch of stuff we need to make sure is turned on. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff we need to make sure is turned off in the reset controls. So in the first one, we turn off our walk forward controllers, and then we reset the lights. We turn them all on, and we reset the lights to be offset from each other. I usually flick them on and off and on again, just to absolutely make sure. Then we turn the walk cycle stuff back on, and then we set our upper and lower limits for all of our legs. So, we are going to turn all of this stuff on, make sure it's all active. And we'll grab our walk lights. So, our default positions, we're going to flip it off and on, make sure that the leg on the left, the light on the left leg turns on. And we'll do on and off on that side to make sure. I've had a few issues in the past with stuff being a bit funny. The Steam stream is back again. Thank you for joining us. Internet's signal going a bit weird. There we go. What's that, William? You're trying to get your friend to play during the free weekend, but don't know if he will. Well, remind him that now's a better time than any to do it. Right, so where were we? That was that, and then the next thing... walk cycle stuff back on. We'll make sure all of our timers and our all of our controllers and our timer turn back on. That doesn't need to turn on. We are going to operate that with other things later. And the Steam stream's gone again. Right, and then the complicated bit. We need to make sure we set all the limits for these correctly. The lower limit is currently set to minus 75. The upper limit is minus 45. And the lower limit on that side. Lower limit on that is 45. And the upper limit will be 75. And then we need to do the same with the ankle hinges. So set lower limit 5. That's upper limit 35. And that one will be the same. Alright, so that should be everything we need to get that set up. When it starts its walk animation. Oh, hey Dread. Welcome to the YouTube stream. The Steam one's just not playing nice. Steam doesn't like me, for some reason. It'll connect for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour if I'm lucky. And then it just disconnects again. Don't know why. Yeah, it's just... Steam just doesn't seem to want to let me connect to its server properly. It's fine 1 minute, and it's fine, and then it's not again. It just keeps disconnecting me and reconnecting me to it. So I just thought I'd just carry on YouTube and keep telling people to go and look at Steam. I put the store page link in the description for the YouTube stream, so anyone that's interested that may have watched it, go and have a look. It's free for the weekend. It's also on a massive, like 75% sale or something ridiculous. It's literally the best time to get into it right now. Yeah, I'm just not sure why. Like, I tried connecting to Steam through OBS, and it just wouldn't play ball. I've tried going through Restream, like a few people have advised. Still no dice. I've tried doing it directly straight into Steam, and just still no dice. Like, it just comes and goes as it pleases. Yeah, because I'm currently running it through Restream. YouTube is fine, and Steam just keeps staying unable to connect every so often, so whatever. Right, so reset controls. We need to do some different things with this. We need to turn everything off, pretty much. So, the opposite of what we did before, mostly, with a few extra bits. There, those are the arms that I haven't built yet, so that's fine. Don't need to worry about that. Right, so if we dive over here, we can go to walk reset. We can turn all of the walk forward blocks off. We can turn both the lights on and off to make sure they go into their off state. And then we can turn off everything to do with the walk cycle. In fact, we will stop that just as an extra precaution. Stop that, and we will turn off the walk cycle rotor as an extra little failsafe. So the next thing we need to do after that is work out what's going to be a nice angle for these legs to be in the centre. Now I get the ankle hinge about in the middle. Yeah, stop jiggling. Yeah, lock that up for a moment. Make life a bit easier. Yeah, so we'll call that... We'll make it 62. Minus 62. Minus 62 is 298 degrees. Right, okay. Yeah, that's all right. Actually, that's a bit too far forward. You know what, I'm going to build balance control system anyway. We'll just keep it simple and make it minus 60. It's close enough to the centre for me. All that. Middle-ish. $20 on that. $20 there. Yeah, okay, so the angles we will need will be 300, 60. 20. Where have I? Reset. There we go. Yeah, we need to now rotate that angle. Oop, not at 60 degrees, at 60 RPM, that's way too much. Rotate angle 300, because the event controllers and the rotate to angle setup get a little bit confused when you try and rotate to negative values. So I always try to use the opposite, positive value instead. So minus 60 is going to be 300. What speed? We'll have it at 6 RPM. We'll set it to auto. And then the right leg, we rotate to angle 60 degrees at 6 RPM. Got the leg hinges. We need to rotate them to 20 degrees at 6 RPM. William, how did I learn all this? I figured it out, pretty much. Engineered some other people's stuff and came up with a bunch of my own ideas. I started by basically reverse engineering Black Armor's stuff, some of his mechs, to see how he was building them. When I was still on Xbox, and then when I moved to PC, I started playing with the Advanced Walker script by B Soldier, and I learnt a few tricks from the script of how that manipulates grids and things, and then I kind of reverse engineered that back into vanilla stuff. When the event controllers came out, because there's a lot of sort of basic scripted behaviour you can kind of replicate with event controllers. So I just started doing that, and now I do all this kind of mad nonsense. A lot of it was just trial and error, figuring stuff out. I've had a lot of clang in the past, I've had a lot of things explode on me. Oh. But once you've made every single mistake you can possibly make, all that's left is the right answers, basically. Right, so that's that, and then what else did we need in that return control? All that reset control. Lights. Oh yeah, resetting the velocity on them to make sure that the knee joints reset. What did we decide? We decided minus 10, didn't we? So set velocity on these to minus 10. Skip. Oh yeah. Yes, that's fine. Grab that one. Minus 10. Minus 10. Oh, no, I've done the same one twice there. That one I want. There we go. Right, so we've now got walk start and a walk reset control. So, let's give them a try, see if they work. So, look at that. Look at that. So, walk start. There we go. And walk reset. We have an on-off switch for the walk cycle rotor. I can turn the walk cycle on. Oh, but I locked one of the legs because I'm a divvy. Forgot about that. Let's unlock that and unlock that. There we go. And if we leave that walk cycle ticking over and hit the walk reset button, it will just go back to wherever it was. Hit walk start, turn on the rotor, hit walk reset, and it will just go back to wherever it needs to be. Cool, so that is the basic bits and pieces of the walk cycle forward. Right, yeah. Right, so that's the walk cycle forward. Let's do the reverse controls. Those bits are all off. Turn that back now. These. So, reverse controls. Basically, exactly the same as the forward controls. I've got about half an hour left on this stream, so we should be able to set that up. They'll both be block switched on and off, and those two will both be rotor hinge angle. Those angles will be slightly different than the forward ones, but the on-off switches are left for left, right for right. So, I'm going to do things the opposite way round to this. So, positive was forward, so we're going to do negative on this one. So, -6 when the light turns on, 6 RPM when it turns off. Then that will be -6 when the light turns on, and 6 when it turns off. And in theory, the two middle legs should still be the same. So, 10 to lift it, -10 to return it. And same for that one. There we go. So that now lifts when it's moving backwards instead of lifting when it's moving forwards. Cool. So, reverse return on the left-hand side. Oh, this is where things get confusing. Back there. Leg return. L01 is currently at 75. So this will be less than. We'll say less than minus 65 for now. Let's see what that's like. So when that gets to there, you will reset the two knee hinges. We might actually need to bring that return value in a little bit, so let's call it minus 60. Okay, that's a little bit better timed. Cool. Right, that's the reverse left leg setup. Let's go and do the right leg. Right then, right leg. Right, that's all that one needs. Leg rotor signing, there we go. Right, so, right leg rotor is going to go forwards, or it's going to be 6 RPM, minus 6 RPM. And then that is going to be minus 6 and 6. And that will be 10, minus 10, 10, and minus 10. Yeah. So greater than 60. Yeah, could be. Set that to minus 10, and we'll set that to minus 10. There we go, so I've now got a reverse walk animation as well. So we are going to need to change our walk start and reset timers. Yeah. Walk cycle stay on. They can all come out because they are going to get swapped into a different set of controllers in a second. I'll move that So, walk reverse, that's what I need to turn off. Put that there at the end of that instead. Because now I'm gonna set up some basic manual controls. Need to see, so we're going to have a pair of thrusters there. And one on the front at the moment. We'll have that's the forward thruster. We'll have that as the override thruster. And then we'll have that as the reverse thruster. Cool, and then we can build even more event controllers. With one there for forward, one there for backwards. Controller or forward control. Reverse control. Right, so what we need to do here is we need to make a couple of groups for a few things. So we'll have a group for that, for the forward controls. And we'll have a group for the reverse controls. Right, so these forward and reverse controllers are going to be set to thruster output greater than 10%. Forward thruster on the forward controller. Reverse thruster for the reverse controller. And the first thing the forward controller is going to do is it's going to turn off the reverse controller as a little failsafe, so we can't accidentally trigger both of them at the same time. That's the last thing we want. And then we will have our forward group of controllers turn on and off. Then we will have our walk, start and reset timer trigger, so it will trigger start when we activate the thruster and trigger reset when we deactivate the thruster, and then we will turn the rotor on and off. Now when I hit forwards on that thruster by pressing my W button, it starts walking, and when I release it, it resets. And then it's just a case of waiting for that walk cycle timer to cycle round and start ticking. Cool, so reverse controller, same thing. It's already set up. So walk, forward controller off and on. Walk reverse controllers on and off. Trigger start and reset. turn on and off the walk rotor. So now when I hit backwards, we can walk backwards, and when I hit forwards, we can walk forwards. And then there's an extra little bonus. Let's grab these walk lights. Make a group for them. And with the forward controller, when we trigger that, we will set the colour on there. Oops, that's that. We will set the colour to my nice favourite shade of green. And then we will set them back to cyan. And for the reverse control, we will set the colour to the shade of orange that I like using. And then we'll reset it again back to cyan. So now we've got a visual indicator on those lights of what direction we're pressing. There we go. So that is our walk on and off controls, and I've only got about 15 minutes left on this stream, so we'll see what more we can get built in the next few minutes. So there's a few gyros to control it. And then we need a balance control system, so it doesn't just tip over all the time. And we can't build anything there because we can't build in that block. We can build in this block. I stick a couple of blocks like that and grab not that points on the side. Typical. Let's we'll just throw any old blocks in. Actually, we can do it. But I just need a connecting point for this rotor. We'll build that there. We will set the limits on it to 0 and 0, so it can't move around anywhere. Set the braking torque quite high, and we'll put a shear inertia tensor on it. And then we just need any old block in the middle really, so I'll just slap a battery on it. There's a bit of reserve power. And we need an AI light block there. And an AI recorder block there. And that needs some of its own gyros to play with, so we'll put a bunch of them there. And a bunch of them there. And just as a little fail-safe, in case the AI is not active for some reason, I put them on override because it helps keep the whole thing balanced anyway. And then we need a beacon. That beacon go. There it is. Right. Build that there. Put that test beacon. And I jump into my AI controls. All that balance. Move. And balance control. Right, so the balance move block, we're going to turn that off. We're going to turn that AI on. Collision and precision off. Speed limit doesn't make a difference really. Minimum altitude going to be 0. Planetary alignment is going to be on, and we're going to set both the angles to 0. Then in the balance control, we're going to have the AI on. Yep. And then we are going to select our test beacon. Add 2 waypoints, so it can flip between the two. And then we're going to delete that beacon and we're going to move it. So I'm going to copy all those details. We're going to chop it off. We're going to paste it back on in the same orientation. Get rid of them. Balance control. And then we will set the new beacon. It's just that one, isn't it? Yeah, pull that test again. Cool, so we've got that. So if I stick points. AI functions. There we go. We can now see that the AI block is now looking at that waypoint there, because I recorded it relative to the beacon. So when I recorded it, it was here. Now I've removed the beacon and moved it forwards. It now thinks it's over there. And if I hit play on that, it is now trying to move towards that location. That's all on, that's all correct. Let's quickly move the control seat over a little bit. I'll just do something like that for now. Control seat up there instead. Cut that off. Oh yeah, we need a power source. I always forget about that. Yeah. Right, if I chop that down. There you go. Just trying to fight to get to a fixed location. Because when we hang on. There we go. Right. So yeah, when we're not attached to a fixed location, it'll do weird stuff. So, oh yeah, we also need to put the repeat on. There we go. There we go. Ooh, self-correcting AI, going a bit weird. Ooh. Let's stand him back up properly. Trying to point towards that. So we need to reset his beacon to our own one. Oh, that probably doesn't help. That gyro control way too powerful. There we go. Now, as hard as I try, I can't get him to tip over. If I... Let me controls down that a little bit. Increase the control on that a little bit. If I try to tip him over, he will fall over, but he will try to correct himself. I think it's because he's too lightweight, he's going a little bit crazy. There we go. Ooh, no. What are you doing? I set something up wrong on here. Speed limit maybe. That. All seems correct in our behaviour. There we go. Now we are stood up again. There we go. Right, now he can't tip himself over. Oh, yeah he can. Yeah, he just needs more mass to him. That's the basics of a balance control system, but if it's too lightweight, it will do weird stuff. Oh, hang on, I know what I'm missing. I am missing my other override controller. My other override gyro rotor thing. So I'll put another one of them down there. Stick another battery on there. Call that the override gyro share inertia tensor on, so it shares its physics with the main grid. Set the limits 0. Right, and then we just need a few more gyros on there. Where did I put them? There they are. 1, 2. 3 and 4. We'll put override controls on them. And need to rename these ones because I called them the wrong thing. Balance. They can be control. And they could be the overrides. Right, increase that again now. There we go, that's better. There we go. That's what was missing. So yeah, now if I try to tip him over, he literally won't, because the balance gyros are constantly trying to keep him stable. Oh, Steam's back again. Nice. I've only got about 2 minutes left, so well done, good timing. But let's get rid of all those signals. Yeah, there we go. That is the basics of a vanilla biped walker. With balance control, so he can't tip over. And he's got forward walk controls. And it's got some reverse walk controls. There you go. That is how you make a vanilla biped walker. That is the absolute basics of it. That is all the walk controls that you'll need. And all the balance controls. And you can play around with those ideas as much as you like. You can scale it up to massive, gigantic things. You can try and make it more compact and a little bit smaller than that. Before I disappear... Here is one of my super-sized versions of the same concept. There we go, I need to go into him and reset his balance control system. But yeah, this is a large grid version of basically the same concept. Oop, button. Go into that. Let's set our balance control. Because blueprints don't remember beacons. So you have to manually select the balance control. There we go. And then, yeah. This is my gigantic Titan version. He doesn't have gyro control with the mouse, because he's an older design. He has got vanilla turning controls with the left and right buttons. Yeah, he's a pretty big boy. Pretty big boy. Let's see, what else did I set up on here? Auto walk, guard patrol mode. We've got a button to turn on the head, which we can then control and look through. It also has AI controls, so it will look at stuff all by itself. What else did I build? And gave it arm controls in that cannon, so we can move that arm around using a turret controller. The gun's got no ammo in it at the moment, but that can reset back to default position. I did set up the arm, but I've not given that a weapon yet, so that can do the same thing on the other side. This one is not on the workshop yet, William. I'm still tinkering with a few things on this guy. What else did we have? We also had a automated missile pod. Thank God damage is turned off on that side, and then we've got an automated rail cannon on the other side. And you missed. Great. Oh yeah, and it had a couple of drones inside it, didn't it? They are going to need to have some AI block to reset. Where are they hiding? Ah, there we go. Yeah. That's the one. Set that one. Set that one. That's that one. Hopefully, the drones I built in the back of him will launch. Let's give that a test then. So, in there, in the back, we've got a couple of sneaky little Factorum drones that I nicked some blueprints of and reworked a little bit. Yeah, there he goes. There we go, we've got a little drone protecting us on that side. And on the other side, we have another one. Oh, shooter, I wish I had a VR headset. I would love that. If you want VR controlled mechs in Space Engineers, Lord Vasius, he's the guy to go and see about that stuff. He does all sorts of things with VR control and motion control and weird cool stuff with mechs. And yeah, they've got a couple of... Where are they going? Okay. My little drones are off on a mission to shoot something. But yeah, that's some basics of mech building and vanilla programming. Oh, there's a thing over there. Oh, is that the drone? Oh yeah, it is. It's the drone. It's the little wheeled drone that I released earlier. Where the Factorum drone's gone? Oh, there they are. Oh, there they go. So, those two are still chasing each other quite happily. Fair enough. Let's go back to over here. Right, so I'm going to wrap this stream up now. I've been doing this for 3 hours, and I believe that Ager will be doing his own stream very soon. I believe he's going to be doing that over on Steam for the Steam free weekend. My Steam stream seems to keep connecting and disconnecting all the time, so oh, it's come back just in time for me to say goodbye. So yeah, show you a few little last bits around the inside of this giant Titan mech. Some showers and some toilets and some other bits. sleeping quarters down there. And we've got the drone bays out here. And then we can climb back up to the control station, or to the bridge, whatever you want to call it. And then we can jump back in the controls. Cool, right. I'm going to end this stream here then. So, thank you for watching. Sorry for anyone that's watching on stream, watching on Steam and dealing with the disconnection issues. I don't know what that's about. YouTube's been fine the entire time. Steam's just not having it. Doesn't like me for some reason. Oh, speak of the devil, it's gone again. Right, I'm going to call that quits. Everybody go over to Steam in about an hour, I think, to go and see Aga doing his next free weekend stream, and pop over to the Steam store page and have a go of it if you haven't already. It's a fun game, and there's lots of interesting things to do. So, I will see you all next time, and thank you for watching. Alright, goodbye for now.